Got it. I'll remove the "am I wrong" self-doubt beat entirely and keep the low point. Realistic. Stress money, math fatigue, and the feeling of being out-resourced, not "maybe I'm the problem." Here's a revised version that stays tense and human without the melodramatic self-questioning. I pulled the kitchen blind up and froze. There was a realtor on my porch, measuring my windows, filming my deck, like he was shooting a listing, and Linda Carver, the HOA president, stood behind him, pointing at my cabin like she owned it. He smiled at me and said, "So, we're going live today." And that's when I realized this wasn't neighborhood drama anymore. This was a takeover dressed up as community standards. I'm Ethan Brooks, mid-30s high school teacher, and I bought a small cabin by Cedar Lake because I wanted quiet, not politics. I wasn't chasing luxury, just a place where my phone wouldn't buzz every 5 seconds, where my dog Max could run, and where I could breathe. The first week felt normal. Then Linda showed up. She didn't knock like a neighbor. She knocked like a landlord. Blonde hair, pulled tight blazer clipboard, and that polished smile that never reached her eyes. "Welcome to Redwood Ridge," she said, scanning my porch like she was doing an inspection. "We take pride in our community." I thanked her because that's what you do. Her eyes slid to Max, sitting calm at my boot like he'd been trained for a job interview. "And that dog," she added, still smiling, "needs to stay out of sight. It's not consistent with the aesthetic." I gave a short laugh because it sounded absurd out loud. Linda didn't laugh back. "I'm the president of the Homeowners Association," she said like that explained everything. "We have expectations here." "I own this place," I said, not loud, not emotional, just factual. Linda tilted her head like I'd said something adorable. "We'll see," she replied. A few days later, there was a violation notice taped to my door. No seal, no letterhead. Just a block of threats, 48 hours, to correct non-compliance or face fines. Unapproved exterior appearance, unregulated animal presence, disruptive signage. My only sign was a small wooden placard that said, "Private Drive." I called the number. Voicemail. I emailed the address. Bounce back. So I called the city. The woman on the line sighed and said, "Sir, we didn't send that." I stared at the paper like it was contaminated. Because if the city didn't send it, someone wanted me to think they did. Someone wanted me to feel watched, pressured, and alone without ever giving me a real target to hit back. After that, it got slippery. Not one big crime, just constant small moves that made daily life heavier. A neighbor who waved yesterday stopped meeting my eyes. Someone jogged past my gate at weird hours like they were checking it. Posts popped up in the community group about outsiders and protecting values. And Linda always hovered at the edges, smiling like she was watching a show she'd paid for. So I did what you're supposed to do. I put up a clean "no trespassing" sign. Private property. No access without permission. Then I installed a basic gate at the start of my private drive. Not a fortress, just a boundary. I thought that would end it. It didn't. One morning I'm making coffee when Max starts barking, the sharp, serious kind. I look out and my stomach drops. There's a guy on my porch with a tape measure and a phone on a gimbal panning across my cabin like he's filming a listing. And behind him, hands on hips, perfectly comfortable, is Linda Carver. I stepped outside, barefoot, coffee mug in hand. "What is this?" The guy turned like we were meeting for brunch. "Morning, Tyler, Grant Summit Realty. Just grabbing footage for the listing." "Listing," I said. He nodded, still cheerful. "Yes, seller wants it moved fast. Great waterfront potential." I stared at Linda. Linda smiled. "Don't be dramatic, Ethan." I looked back at Tyler. "I'm the owner. This place is not for sale." Tyler's expression cracked. He glanced at Linda. "Ma'am, you told me you were representing the seller." Linda's eyes narrowed. "I'm representing the community." That's when it clicked. She wasn't just pushing rules. She was trying to manufacture a reality where my property was a problem to be solved. And she was the one holding the solution. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I walked down my drive, latched the gate, ran a heavy chain through it, and clicked a thick padlock shut. Then I hung a fresh sign right under the old one. "Not for sale." As satisfying as that click was, my hands were still shaking, not from doubt, from adrenaline. Because once you see someone lie that boldly, you start counting what else they might try next. Linda came back that afternoon like she'd scheduled an appointment with my driveway. She yanked the chain hard. Metal clanged. Then she raised her voice so nearby houses could hear. "You can't block community access. This road is for everyone." I kept my voice flat. "It's my private drive. The homeowners association has authority over easement," she snapped. "Show me," I said. "Show me the paperwork." She didn't show me anything. She just smiled again. "You'll be hearing from us." 72 hours later, I got the certified envelope. Not a fake notice this time. A real lawsuit. Redwood Ridge Homeowners Association versus Ethan Brooks. They claimed I was violating community covenants, unlawfully blocking access to common areas, interfering with the association's rights. I laid the papers on my kitchen table and did something I hate doing: money math. Attorney retainer. Time off work. Stress I can't clock out from. Not fear that I was wrong, fear that they were willing to burn my time and cash just to prove they could. That night I didn't spiral into self-blame. I just sat there thinking, this is how people like Linda win. Not by being right, by being relentless. And then the next punch came, an offer served like mercy. Linda cornered me in the grocery store parking lot holding a folder like she was doing me a favor. "We can resolve this privately," she said. Inside was a typed agreement. I pay $5,000. I issue an apology to the board. I remove the gate. And I agree to relocate within 6 months. Relocate like I was a stain. I didn't wonder if I deserved it. I didn't question my own sanity. I looked at that line and felt something colder than anger. If I sign this, she learns it works. So I called a lawyer, Gregory Walsh. Older guy, calm voice, no theatrics. He didn't hype me up. He asked for facts, deed, parcel map, every letter, every date, photos, screenshots. He built a timeline like he was assembling a machine. A few days later in his office, he slid a county record across the desk and tapped a highlighted strip. "Here's the public easement," he said. I leaned in. "They said they control it." Gregory didn't even blink. "They said that because they're hoping no one checks. This easement predates the association." Then he flipped to the glossy HOA map they attached to the lawsuit. The easement line. Missing. Not unclear. Missing. Gregory looked up. "This isn't a clerical mistake. This is a modification." My jaw tightened. "You mean they changed it?" He nodded once, and they filed it. Court day came fast. Linda arrived dressed like she was attending a board meeting. Her attorney carried binders like weight mattered more than truth. They talked about community harmony, property values, non-compliant residents, all the pretty words people use when they want control without saying control. Then Gregory stood. He didn't argue feelings. He argued sources. Where did this map come from? Who generated it? Why does it omit a recorded easement? Why does the file metadata show edits after it was supposedly certified? Why does the formatting shift exactly where the easement should be? And then he brought in a document examiner. Someone who spoke in plain, boring, devastating terms about scan layers, altered sections, inconsistent fonts, and edits. Linda's attorney tried to object, tried to spin it as confusion, tried to talk fast. Judge Harrington didn't let it slide. He leaned forward, studied the exhibits, then looked over his glasses. "I'm seeing substantial indication of deliberate modification," he said, voice even. "And I'm seeing it presented as evidence." The room went quiet in that heavy way, like everyone suddenly remembered this wasn't a neighborhood meeting. This was court. Linda's attorney asked for a sidebar so fast his chair scraped. Linda's face finally dropped the smile. Not rage, not confidence. Just the realization that the game changed when the audience became a judge. The judge dismissed the HOA's claims, ordered them to cover my legal fees, and then said the sentence that ended Linda's little empire in one breath. "This matter is being referred for further review regarding potential fraud." Linda didn't look at me after that. She stared straight ahead like posture could hold her world together. But it was over. Because Linda could bully neighbors all day, she couldn't bully a courtroom with a forged document. Lesson simple. When someone weaponizes the rules, make them prove every line.